17th of August, 1943, 9:30 in the morning. Rechlin Testing Facility, 90 kilometers to the north of Berlin. Oberleutnant Hans-Joachim Jabs stood upon the airfield, gazing at the most ungainly warplane he had ever encountered. The seized American P-38 Lightning rested beneath armed surveillance. Dual booms. Dual power plants. A central pod that appeared to have been crafted by competing committees. Its every feature contradicted Germanic principles of aeronautical aesthetics. Jabs had received his summons from the 4th of November, NJG 3 days prior. The directive originated directly from Luftwaffe Supreme Command. Combat aviator insight necessary. Rechlin technical staff require operational evaluation. He could not fathom why a nocturnal fighter aviator was needed to assess a daylight fighter. He could not comprehend why this specific machine demanded such immediate attention. Yet, as he approached, as the dawn sunlight gleamed off the dual Allison power plants, Jabs experienced something absent from his 50 combat triumphs. Disquiet, not from the machine itself, from its implications. Something the Rechlin technical staff were preparing to reveal to him. Something that would clarify why Reichsmarshal Göring had personally mandated this assessment remain secret. 3 days prior, 14th of August, 1943, 10:15 at night, 4 NJG-1 Operations Center, Lüneburg. Jabs had recently concluded a nocturnal intercept sortie. 2 RAF Lancaster bombers verified destroyed above Hamburg. His 49th and 50th triumphs. The teletype communication awaited. OBLT Jabs report, Rechlin testing. Facility 0, 8:16 August stop Luftwaffe, Supreme Command urgency. Stop combat assessment. Seized hostile aircraft, stop, his squadron commander appeared troubled. They're withdrawing you from operations for aircraft assessment? Jabs offered no response. Throughout 2 years of combat, he had never been called to Rechlin. Evaluation pilots assessed seized aircraft. Technical staff authored technical documentation. Combat aviators flew sorties. This was anomalous. The following morning, Jabs piloted a Ru-52 transport to Rechlin. The installation sprawled across 400 hectares. Maintenance facilities, proving grounds, aerodynamic tunnels, research centers. Germany's principal aircraft evaluation installation. He was received by Hauptmann Klaus Becker, Chief Technical Administrator. Becker's opening statement. Oberleutnant, what we are preparing to reveal to you is classified Geheimkommandosach. You will share this assessment with no one beyond this installation. They proceeded past rows of seized Allied warplanes. Spitfires, P-47 Thunderbolts, B-17 heavy bombers, all displaying Luftwaffe evaluation insignia. Then Becker halted before Maintenance Facility 7, the P-38 Lightning. Seized undamaged in March following emergency touchdown in occupied France. We have performed 47 hours of static evaluation and 12 hours of airborne evaluation. Becker's demeanor was somber. Reichsmarshal Göring demands operational assessment from combat aviators, particularly aviators with twin power plant background. Jabs possessed 800 hours in the Bf-110, Germany's twin power plant heavy interceptor. He grasped why they had selected him. What he failed to grasp was why Becker appeared to be announcing a catastrophe, 9:45. Maintenance Facility 7, the P-38 rested beneath arc lights. Becker provided Jabs a technical portfolio. We shall examine the aircraft methodically. I require your evaluation as a combat aviator, not a technician. Jabs circled the Lightning deliberately. Dual Allison V-1710 power plants. 1,475 horsepower each. Liquid-cooled, 12-cylinder, counter-rotating air screws to neutralize torque. The twin-boom configuration appeared awkward. The central pod cockpit weaponry forward wheel appeared like an addition. Your initial impression? Becker inquired. Grotesque, Jabs stated plainly. Compromised visibility. The booms generate blind zones. In aerial combat, a Bf-109 would capitalize on those angles. Becker acknowledged. That was our preliminary evaluation, but continue examining. Jabs ascended onto the wing. The construction differed. Countersink fasteners, polished skin, no apparent gaps or imperfections. He traced his hand along the power plant housing. The manufacturing precision is exceptional. More refined than anything we are manufacturing. Standardized interchangeable components, Becker stated. Every element manufactured to uniform specifications. No manual adjustment necessary during construction. Jabs had observed Bf-110s being constructed at Gotha. Qualified technicians manually adjusted panels, modified tolerances, refined edges. Every aircraft possessed slight variations. This P-38 appeared as though it had been manufactured by machinery. The weaponry? Jabs inquired. Becker guided him to the nose. 20mm Hispano-automatic cannon. 450 caliber Browning automatic guns, all nose installed. Concentrated firepower. No harmonization complications like wing-installed guns. Jabs comprehended immediately. Germanic fighters installed guns in the wings. MG-151 20th automatic cannons. MG-131 automatic guns. Aviators had to determine harmonization distance. Fire excessively near or distant and half your projectiles missed. The P-38's nose weaponry eliminated that complication, aim and fire. Combat efficiency? Jabs inquired. Catastrophic at proximate range, Becker stated. But that is not what troubles us. He indicated toward the power plants. We must show you something. Follow 10:30. Power plant evaluation facility. One of the P-38's Allison V-1710 power plants rested installed on an evaluation platform. Rechlin technical staff had disassembled it entirely. Every component labeled, quantified, examined. Becker provided Jabs a technical documentation. Examine the Airborne Evaluation Summary, page 7. Jabs reviewed the documentation. His attention stopped on one section. Evaluation Aviator. Lieutenant Werner Hoffmann. Performed single power plant failure simulation at 6,000 meters altitude. Right power plant shut down entirely. Aircraft sustained level flight. No substantial loss of directional authority. Aviator documented aircraft surprisingly controllable on single power plant. Jabs looked upward. This flew on one power plant for 90 minutes, Becker stated. Hoffmann flew a complete circuit, ascended to 7,000 meters. Performed combat maneuvers. Landed routinely on one power plant? For Jabs, this signified everything. The Bf-110, his aircraft, his 800 hours of background, was a single power plant failure. Asymmetric thrust. Unmanageable yaw. Aviators abandoned rather than attempt single power plant touchdown. He had lost 3 squadron comrades to power plant failures. Capable aviators, seasoned, deceased because the Bf-110 could not fly on one power plant. How? Jabs inquired. Becker guided him through the technical details. Counter-rotating air screws neutralize torque asymmetry. The twin-boom configuration distributes mass symmetrically. Substantial vertical stabilizers provide directional stability, and observe this. He indicated to the power plant mounting. The power plants are installed proximate to the fuselage centerline, minimal moment arm. When one power plant fails, the yaw force is controllable. Jabs studied the disassembled power plant. Every component was uniform to its counterpart, interchangeable, standardized. The Bf-110 has manually adjusted power plant mountings. Jabs stated quietly, every aircraft differs. Asymmetric mass distribution. When a power plant fails, he did not complete the statement. Becker acknowledged. The Americans engineered redundancy into the airframe. We engineered performance. They presumed power plants would fail. We presumed they would not. In that instant, Jabs recognized something profound. This was not about individual aircraft capability. This was about engineering philosophy. Germanic engineering optimized for maximum performance. American engineering optimized for survivability. And in combat, survivability mattered more than velocity. 12:45. Rechlin Conference Facility. Becker distributed maps across the table. The P-38's combat range, Becker stated, indicating to the technical specifications. With auxiliary tanks, 650 miles. Without, 450 miles. Jabs examined the numbers. Then he observed the map. 650 miles from England encompassed all of occupied France, all of Belgium. half of Germany. That equals our optimal fighter range, Jabs stated. Accurate, Becker responded. The Bf-109G has 350-mile range with auxiliary tank, the FW-190A, 320 miles. The Bf-110G, 450 miles maximum. Becker drew circles on the map. This is what American P-38s can achieve from English installations. They can accompany bombers to Berlin. They can accompany bombers to Munich. They can accompany bombers anywhere in the Reich. For Jabs, this signified his entire tactical methodology was obsolete. Germanic fighter tactics depended on bombers being unaccompanied. Intercept them beyond escort range. Attack from altitude, disengage before escorts arrive. If American fighters could accompany bombers to any objective in Germany, there was no beyond escort range. How? Jabs inquired. The fuel capacity. Becker retrieved fuel system schematics. The P-38 carries 410 gallons internal fuel with two 150-gallon auxiliary tanks. 710 gallons total. The Allison power plants are remarkably fuel efficient at cruise power. Specific fuel consumption of 0.48 pounds per horsepower hour. He performed the calculation on a chalkboard. At 25,000 feet, cruise power 1200 RPM, the P-38 consumes 80 gallons per hour. That equals 8.8 hours endurance with auxiliary tanks. At 290 miles per hour cruise velocity, that equals 2,550 miles maximum range. Combat radius, accounting for combat power, reserves, tactical maneuvering, 650 miles. Jabs compared this to the Bf-109G. Our fighters carry 88 gallons internal with 66-gallon auxiliary tank. 154 gallons total. The DB-605 power plant consumes 72 gallons per hour at cruise. That equals 2.1 hours endurance. At 280 miles per hour, 590 miles maximum range, combat radius 350 miles. The numbers were catastrophic. The P-38 had 4.6 times the fuel capacity of the Bf-109, nearly triple the combat radius. And it carried that fuel in a twin power plant airframe that could survive single power plant failure. What occurs when they begin accompanying bomber formations to Berlin? Jabs inquired. Becker's demeanor was somber. We calculated that scenario. If 100 P-38s accompany a bomber formation, and we deploy 200 Bf-109s to intercept, our fighters have 15 minutes of combat time before they must disengage for fuel. The P-38s can remain over the objective for 90 minutes. He drew engagement chronologies on the board. Our aviators attack, expend ammunition, disengage, the P-38s remain. Fresh Germanic fighters deploy, engage, disengage, the P-38s remain. By the time the bombers withdraw, our fighters are grounded for refueling. Jabs comprehended the mathematics of attrition. They do not need to destroy us. They merely need to outlast us. Precisely, Becker stated. And this, he tapped the P-38 technical drawing, is only one of their long-range fighters? Intelligence documents the Americans are developing the P-51 Mustang with even greater range. For Jabs, this signified something he had never contemplated in 50 combat triumphs. Germany could triumph in every tactical engagement and still lose the strategic conflict. 1400 hours. Rechlin Industrial Intelligence Section. Becker guided Jabs into a secured chamber. Tables covered with manufacturing documentation, intelligence summaries, reconnaissance imagery. What I'm preparing to show you is classified at the highest level, Becker stated. Reichsminister Speer's office assembled this data from multiple intelligence sources. He opened the portfolio marked Geheim. U.S. Aircraft Manufacturing, 1943. The Americans manufactured 10,037 P-38 Lightnings between 1941 and now. Current manufacturing rate, approximately 200 per month at Lockheed's Burbank installation. Jabs performed the mental calculation. That equals 2,400 per year. Accurate. Now compare that to Germanic twin power plant fighter manufacturing. Becker retrieved Luftwaffe manufacturing documentation. We are manufacturing approximately 150 Bf-110s per month, 1,800 per year. The ratio was troubling but not catastrophic. So they are out-manufacturing us, but not overwhelmingly. Becker's demeanor darkened. That is merely the P-38. Now add the P-47 Thunderbolt. Republic Aviation is manufacturing 350 per month. The P-51 Mustang. North American Aviation is accelerating to 400 per month. The P-40 Warhawk. Curtiss is still manufacturing 200 per month. He recorded the numbers on a chalkboard. American Fighter Manufacturing, August 1943, P-38 Lightning, 200 per month. P-47 Thunderbolt, 350 per month. P-51 Mustang, 400 projected per month. P-40 Warhawk, 200 per month. Total, 1,150 fighters per month. Germanic Fighter Manufacturing, August 1943, BF-109, approximately 1,000 per month. FW-190, approximately 450 per month. BF-110, approximately 150 per month. Total, 1,600 fighters per month. Jabs examined the numbers. We are still out-manufacturing them. In fighters, affirmative, Becker stated. But observe the power plant manufacturing. He retrieved another documentation. The P-38 utilizes Allison V-1710 power plants. Allison's Indianapolis plant is manufacturing these power plants for multiple aircraft types. P-38s, P-40s, P-39s, P-63s. Becker indicated to reconnaissance imagery of American factories, but the P-47 Thunderbolt utilizes a different power plant entirely. The Pratt & Whitney are 2800 double wasp 18-cylinder air-cooled radial, 2,800 cubic inches displacement, 2,000 horsepower. He showed Jabs the manufacturing data. Pratt & Whitney is manufacturing our 2800 power plants at multiple installations, East Hartford, Kansas City. Combined output, over 2,000 power plants per month. For Jabs, this was when the true magnitude became apparent. They are not merely constructing more aircraft, Jabs stated slowly. They are constructing redundant manufacturing capacity. Multiple power plant types, multiple manufacturers. If we bomb one factory, 10 others continue manufacturing, Becker completed. And here is what truly troubles Reichsminister Speer. He retrieved the final documentation. Imagery of American factories, vast assembly halls, manufacturing lines extending hundreds of meters. This is Willow Run, Ford Motor Company's bomber plant in Michigan. One B-24 Liberator heavy bomber every 63 minutes. This is Boeing's Seattle installation, manufacturing B-17 Flying Fortresses at similar rates. Becker showed imagery after imagery. Consolidated Aircraft in San Diego, Douglas Aircraft in Long Beach, North American Aviation in Kansas City, Lockheed in Burbank. The Americans are not merely out-manufacturing us in aircraft, Becker stated quietly. They are out-manufacturing us in industrial capacity by an order of magnitude we cannot match. He showed Jabs one final image, an aerial reconnaissance photograph of the Willow Run plant. This single factory, one factory, is larger than all of Messerschmitt's manufacturing installations combined, and the Americans have dozens of factories this magnitude. In that instant, Jabs comprehended what Becker had been guiding him toward all day. This was not an assessment of a seized aircraft. This was an assessment of whether Germany could triumph in an industrial conflict against America. And the answer was already determined 4:30. Rechlin Testing Facility Airfield. Jabs stood solitary beside the P-38 Lightning. The afternoon sun cast extended shadows across the twin booms. He contemplated the numbers Becker had revealed to him. American manufacturing, 1,150 fighters per month, 13,800 per year. Germanic manufacturing, 1,600 fighters per month, 19,200 per year. On paper, Germany was triumphing in the manufacturing conflict. But Jabs comprehended what the numbers failed to reveal. Germanic manufacturing required qualified technicians manually adjusting components, custom modifications, every aircraft slightly different, manufacturing constrained by craftsmanship. American manufacturing utilized interchangeable components, unqualified laborers, assembly line procedures. Manufacturing constrained only by raw materials. And America possessed unlimited raw materials. He contemplated the P-38's redundancy. twin power plants, counter-rotating air screws, asymmetric thrust compensation, engineered presuming power plants would fail. Germanic fighters were engineered presuming power plants would not fail, optimized for performance, not survivability. He contemplated the 650-mile combat range, American fighters that could accompany bombers anywhere in the Reich, Germanic fighters with 350-mile radius, forced to disengage engagement for fuel while American escorts remained over the objective. He contemplated the R-2800 power plant, 2,000 horsepower, mass manufactured at 2,000 units per month, the DB-605 power plant, 1,475 horsepower, manufactured at 1,500 units per month, each requiring qualified power plant constructors. The mathematics were inescapable. Germany was fighting a conflict of quality against quantity, and quantity possessed its own quality. Jabs had 50 verified triumphs. He was an ace, one of the Luftwaffe's finest. But if America could manufacture 10 fighters for every one he destroyed, his proficiency was irrelevant. If American fighters could remain over the objective for 90 minutes while Germanic fighters had 15 minutes of combat time, tactics were irrelevant. If American heavy bombers could strike any objective in Germany with fighter accompaniment, aerial defense was impossible. A staff vehicle approached. Becker stepped out. Your assessment, Oberleutnant? Jabs was silent for an extended moment. The P-38 is a grotesque aircraft, he finally stated. Compromised visibility, awkward configuration. ABF-109 Aviator with capable tactics can capitalize on its weaknesses. He paused. But that is not what matters. What matters is that the Americans can manufacture 200 of these per month. What matters is that they engineered it to survive power plant failures that would kill ABF-110 Aviator. What matters is that they can accompany bombers to any objective in the Reich. He turned to face Becker. What matters is that we are fighting an adversary that does not need to construct superior aircraft. They merely need to construct more aircraft. And they can construct more aircraft than we can destroy. Becker acknowledged slowly. That is the assessment Reichsmarshal Gring needed to hear from a combat aviator. Will it alter anything? Jabs inquired. Becker's demeanor was answer enough. 3 days later, Jabs returned to 4NJG-1. He flew 47 more combat sorties. He achieved 28 more verified triumphs, bringing his total to 78. He survived the conflict. But on 17th of August, 1943, standing beside that grotesque American fighter on the Rechlin airfield, Hans-Joachim Jabs comprehended something.